The bus swayed gently on the wet asphalt as raindrops trickled down the window. She didn't realize it right away, but that day would change her life forever. Megan sighed, gripping the worn-out strap of her bag. It was yet another tough day. As a single mom, every penny had to be calculated, and lately the bills seemed to multiply. The exhaustion weighed on her shoulders, but she had to keep her head up. Her 5-year-old son, Oliver, depended on her. The bus engine groaned as it took a sharp turn, sending a brown bag tumbling to the floor. Megan watched as it slid across the seats, stopping almost at her feet. She looked around, expecting someone to claim it, but no one seemed to notice. The bag was elegant, real leather, something she could never afford. Maybe there's everything in there. Money, documents, something important, she thought. Hesitant, she picked it up and held it on her lap. Her heart pounded. Could this be an opportunity? A test? Or just a random twist of fate? Before we continue this thrilling story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And tell me in the comments, what would you do if you found a bag full of money with no owner in sight? Megan held the bag in her lap, feeling the smooth leather under her fingers. Her heart was hammering in her chest, and her thoughts raced uncontrollably. The bus kept moving, indifferent to the storm of emotions inside her. She took a deep breath. What if there's money in here? The thought hit her like lightning. Her mind instantly darted to the overdue bills, the nearly empty fridge, the rent creeping closer to its due date. All she had to do was unzip it and check. But then, another thought, even stronger, pushed through. What if someone is desperately looking for this right now? The weight of responsibility settled on her shoulders. Megan knew all too well what it felt like to lose something important. How many times had she felt powerless in life? How many times had she wished that someone, in an act of kindness, would reach out and help her? She closed her eyes for a moment and heard her mother's gentle voice in her memory. What we put out into the world gives back to us, Megan. Always choose to be a light. The decision was made. She had to return the bag. But how? The bus was already nearing her stop. Megan glanced around once more. No one was showing any signs of panic or searching for something lost. She clutched the bag against her chest and, with firm resolve, stepped off the bus with a plan in mind. She would look for a clue about the owner and find them. The rain was light as Megan stepped onto the sidewalk. The cold seeped through her cheap coat, but what really unsettled her was the uncertainty of what she'd find inside that bag. Walking briskly, she hurried to a small cafe on the corner where she could sit and figure out what to do next. She settled at a table near the window, watching people rushing under umbrellas. With slightly trembling hands, she opened the bag. The scent of leather mixed with a hint of sophisticated perfume filled her nose. Inside, she found a black leather wallet, documents, a phone, and a neat stack of folded bills. That money could solve so many of her problems. But Megan pushed the thought away. Her eyes landed on an ID card. Katherine Sullivan. The name was embossed in gold letters. The photo showed an elegant, middle-aged woman with a confident gaze. Megan sighed and looked at the phone, which, to her surprise, still had battery. A missed call notification flashed on the screen. Her heart pounded. The hardest decision had already been made. Now, she had to find Katherine and return what belonged to her. What Megan didn't realize was that this simple act was about to change the course of her life forever. Megan stared at the phone screen for a moment, hesitating. The name Katherine Sullivan glowed on the display next to a missed call. Her gut told her that woman was probably panicking over her lost bag. Taking a deep breath, Megan tapped the screen and called back. The phone rang 3 times before someone answered. "Hello?" The voice on the other end was firm, but carried a hint of worry. "Hi, my name is Megan. I found your bag on the bus." The silence on the other end made her heart race. What if they thought she was a thief? "You found it? Oh my God!" Katherine's voice overflowed with relief. "Where are you? I can come get it right now." Megan glanced around, thinking. The cafe she was in was safe and busy, a good place for the meeting. "I'm at Willow Cafe on 3rd Avenue. Can you come here?" Yes, of course. I'm on my way. Please don't go anywhere." The call ended, and Megan let out a breath. She felt nervous, but at the same time, a strange sense of peace settled over her. She had done the right thing, and that warmed her heart. As she waited, she ordered a simple coffee and watched the light rain falling outside. The weather seemed to reflect her life, gray, uncertain, but with a hidden beauty that few noticed. A few minutes later, the cafe door swung open, and a tall woman with perfectly styled blonde hair walked in briskly, her eyes scanning the room. Her sharp blue gaze locked onto Megan, and she strode toward her with purposeful steps. "Are you Megan?" Megan nodded and held out the bag. "I found it on the bus. It looked important." Katherine took the bag with trembling hands, quickly opening it to check its contents. Her face relaxed when she saw everything was still there. "My God, you have no idea how much this means to me. I thought I'd never see it again." Megan gave her a small smile. "I know what it's like to lose something important." There was a brief moment of silence between them. Then, Katherine closed the bag and looked straight into Megan's eyes. "You didn't open it to take anything, not even a little tempted." Megan felt a lump in her throat. Being questioned like that was uncomfortable, but she understood. In today's world, not everyone would return something so valuable. "I looked at your ID and phone to try to contact you. That's it." Katherine tilted her head slightly, studying Megan with an appraising look, as if she were trying to see beyond the surface. "That's rare these days. Very rare." Megan just shrugged. "It's not about what's in the bag. It's about who lost it." Katherine blinked, momentarily caught off guard by the response. A subtle smile formed on her lips. "I think you're a very special person, Megan, and maybe fate brought us together for a reason." Megan frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" Katherine didn't answer right away. Instead, she reached into her bag, pulled out a business card, and slid it across the table. "I have a proposition for you." Megan's heart pounded. She picked up the card with trembling fingers and read the bold letters. "Katherine Sullivan, CEO, Sullivan Enterprises." Megan stared at the business card as if it were a puzzle. Sullivan Enterprises. The name sounded sophisticated, important. She looked up at Katherine, still trying to process what was happening. "What does this mean?" she asked, a mix of doubt and hope in her voice. Katherine smiled slightly, adjusting her bag on her lap. "It means I want to know more about you." Megan's brows furrowed. "But why? I just returned your bag." Katherine laced her fingers together and leaned in slightly, as if she were about to share a secret. "I'm a businesswoman, Megan. I work with people every day, and I can tell you, in all my years, I've rarely come across someone like you." A chill ran down Megan's spine. She was used to hearing compliments about her strength as a mother, about how she managed to push through tough times, but no one had ever looked at her with professional interest before. "I don't understand." Katherine sighed and took a sip of her coffee before continuing. "Do you know what was inside this bag?" Megan hesitated. "I saw there was money, but I didn't count it." Yes, there was money, but that wasn't the most important thing. Katherine reached into the bag, pulled out an envelope, and placed it on the table. Inside this are valuable documents and contracts, the kind of things that, if they fell into the wrong hands, could cause serious problems for me and my company. She paused for a moment, studying Megan's reaction. "You had the opportunity to take advantage of the situation. You could have kept the money, ignored the documents, and just gone on with your life. But you didn't. That tells me a lot about your character." Megan swallowed hard. The conversation was taking a turn she hadn't expected. "I just did what anyone should do." Katherine let out a soft laugh. "Maybe, but unfortunately most people wouldn't. And that's why I want to give you an opportunity." Megan raised an eyebrow. "What kind of opportunity?" Katherine rested her elbows on the table, her tone serious but friendly. "I need a personal assistant. Someone trustworthy, organized, and honest. The salary is good, the benefits are great, and more importantly, you could have a promising future with me." Megan's heart skipped a beat. "Wait, you're offering me a job? Just like that?" Katherine smiled. "Nothing happens just like that, Megan. Opportunities appear for those who are ready to receive them. And I think you are." Megan blinked a few times, trying to process everything. It all felt too fast. "But I don't have experience as an assistant. I'm just a mom trying to get by. Katherine tilted her head slightly, as if considering every word. And you think raising a child on your own isn't valuable experience? Time management, problem solving, patience, creativity. I'd say you have far more experience than you realize. Megan bit her lower lip. A part of her wanted to say yes right away. But what if this was a mistake? What if she wasn't capable? I don't know. Katherine noticed the hesitation and smiled. I don't expect you to decide right now. Here's my number. She slid a second card across the table. Think about it. If you decide to accept, call me by tomorrow. If not, no hard feelings. Just remember, opportunities don't always knock twice. Megan took the card, holding it between her fingers. She had never been the kind of person who got unexpected chances in life. But maybe, just maybe, it was time to change that story. Megan left the cafe with Katherine's card clutched tightly in her hand. The cold wind brushed against her face, but she barely felt it. Her mind was spinning. A job, a real opportunity. But what if she wasn't ready? She took the bus back home, watching the city lights flicker through the window, fogged up by the humidity. Exhaustion was an old companion, but now it was mixed with something new. Hope. When she arrived at the small apartment she shared with Oliver, she found her son sitting on the living room rug, coloring with crayons. The boy looked up at her with an innocent smile. Hi, Mommy. How was your day? Megan sighed, feeling the weight of the decision she had to make. She sat down beside him, running her fingers through his soft hair. It was different. I met a woman today. She offered me a job. Oliver's eyes lit up. Really? That's good, right? Megan hesitated. I think so, but I don't know if I'm good enough for it. Oliver furrowed his little brows, confused. But you're the best mommy in the world. If you can take care of me, you can do anything. The innocence in his response made her smile. To Oliver, everything was simple. If his mom could handle overdue bills, putting food on the table, and the daily struggles of life, then any other job should be easy. But Megan knew it wasn't that simple. What if I mess everything up? She whispered, almost to herself. Oliver picked up one of his drawings and held it up for her to see. See this one? It was a colorful scribble, full of uneven lines, with a giant orange sun in the corner. At first I messed up, and the sun was crooked. But then I tried again. And now it looks nice. Megan blinked a few times, holding back the lump in her throat. How could a 5-year-old see life so clearly? You're saying I should try? And if it doesn't work out, I can try again? Oliver nodded enthusiastically. Yes, you always tell me we shouldn't give up so easily. Megan laughed, pulling him into a tight hug. He was right. Maybe life was giving her a chance to draw a new beginning, and all she had to do was try. That night, after putting Oliver to bed, she picked up Katherine's card and stared at the number printed on it. Her heart pounded. With one last deep breath, she grabbed her phone and typed a message. Katherine, this is Megan. I accept the opportunity. When can we talk? Her finger hovered over the send button for a moment. Then, without hesitating anymore, she pressed send. The reply came almost instantly. Great choice. Let's meet tomorrow morning at my office. See you then. Megan set her phone aside and closed her eyes. Tomorrow could be the beginning of something new, and for the first time in a long while, she felt like the future could be bright. The next morning, Megan woke up before her alarm. Her heart was racing, a mix of nerves and excitement. As she prepared breakfast for Oliver, her mind was still struggling to process everything. She had a new job, a new chance. But was she really ready for it? After dropping Oliver off at school, she put on the best outfit she had, a pair of black dress pants and a simple but well-kept blue blouse. In the small apartment mirror, she tried to see herself differently. Did she look like a professional assistant? She took the subway to the address on the card. When she stepped out at her stop, she looked up and felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. The Sullivan Enterprises building was towering, its mirrored glass reflecting the morning light. Well-dressed people hurried in and out of the entrance, some carrying folders, others speaking into their phones. Taking a deep breath, Megan stepped into the elegant lobby, where a massive chandelier hung from the ceiling. A smiling receptionist greeted her. Good morning, how can I help you? Hi, I'm Megan. I have a meeting with Katherine Sullivan. The receptionist typed quickly on her computer and nodded. Of course she's expecting you. You can take the elevator on the right, 15th floor. Megan swallowed hard. No turning back now. When the elevator doors opened on the 15th floor, she found herself in a sleek but welcoming space. Glass walls revealed a stunning view of the city. Employees moved with purpose, yet the atmosphere wasn't frantic. It was focused, professional. An assistant guided her to a spacious, beautifully decorated office. Katherine was seated behind a dark wooden desk, typing on her laptop. The moment she saw Megan, she smiled and stood up. Punctuality, that's already a good start. Megan smiled shyly and took a seat when Katherine gestured toward the chair across from her. First of all, thank you for trusting me with this opportunity. Katherine rested her elbows on the desk and intertwined her fingers. I trust your honesty, Megan. Now, let's see how you handle the job. She picked up a tablet and slid it across the desk toward Megan. Here's your first task. I need you to organize this schedule, prioritize the most urgent appointments, and contact the clients who need to reschedule. I want to see how you manage deadlines and organization. Megan took the tablet and examined the list. It was long, but nothing she couldn't handle. If there was one thing she knew how to do, it was time management. Being a single mom had already trained her for challenges like this. With a firm nod, she replied, You can count on me. Katherine smirked slightly. Great. Welcome to the team, Megan. I hope this is just the beginning of a great story. A warmth spread through Megan's chest. For the first time in a long while, she felt like she was exactly where she was meant to be. And little did she know, this job would change her life in ways she could never imagine. Megan sat at one of the side workstations in the office and took a deep breath. There she was, facing the first major challenge of her new journey. The tablet screen glowed in front of her, displaying Katherine's packed schedule. There were meetings with international clients, conferences, contract deadlines, and various personal appointments booked with no clear order. She grabbed a notepad and started sketching out a plan. If life had taught her anything, it was the importance of organization. As a single mom, she had always juggled tight schedules and conflicting priorities. Now, she would apply that skill to impress her new boss. With sharp focus, she reorganized Katherine's schedule logically, placing the most urgent commitments first, grouping similar meetings together, and leaving strategic breaks in between. Then, she picked up the corporate phone and started making calls to reschedule and adjust appointments. Hello, Mr. Peterson. This is Megan, Ms. Sullivan's assistant. I noticed that your meeting scheduled for Friday might conflict with another important engagement. Would it be possible to reschedule it for Monday morning instead? The man on the other end of the line sounded surprised by her clear and proactive approach. That would actually be great. Thanks for catching that in advance. Each call, each adjustment boosted Megan's confidence. She was doing a good job. A few hours later, Katherine walked through the office and noticed Megan completely focused on the computer. Curious, she stopped beside her. How's it going? Megan turned the screen to show her the newly organized schedule. I rearranged the appointments based on urgency. I also added gaps between longer meetings for strategic breaks and rescheduled clients who needed more time. Plus, I've already contacted the main partners to confirm their availability. Katherine raised her eyebrows, impressed. You did all this in just a few hours? Megan nodded. Yes, I thought a more efficient system could help with your workflow. Katherine picked up the tablet and reviewed the changes. A smile formed on her lips. Megan, you do realize I have an entire team for this kind of thing, right? Megan's heart pounded. Had she overstepped? I just wanted to help. Katherine chuckled softly and set the tablet down on the table. And you did. In fact, you did a better job than most of the people I've hired for this. Megan blinked in surprise. Really? Absolutely. You have a natural talent for organization and problem anticipation. That's rare. Her boss crossed her arms and studied Megan for a moment. Tell me, have you ever thought about growing in the corporate world? About reaching for something beyond just a job? Megan hesitated. Career growth had never seemed like a real option for her. Her life had always revolved around surviving, paying bills, and taking care of Oliver. But for the first time, she felt like she could dream of something bigger. I've never really thought about it, but I think I'd like to try. Katherine smiled. Then keep doing what you're doing, and who knows how far you can go. A shiver ran down Megan's spine. This opportunity could be much more than just a job. It could be the beginning of a new life. The days passed quickly, and Megan started feeling more comfortable in her role. For the first time in her life, she felt like she was on the right path. Every new task was an opportunity to learn, and Katherine seemed increasingly pleased with her performance. However, not everything was perfect. There was someone who didn't welcome her presence. Lisa Carter, Katherine's senior assistant, made no effort to hide her irritation with the new hire. Megan noticed the sideways glances, the impatient sighs, and the way Lisa always seemed to test her patience with vague instructions or overly complicated tasks. One day, while Megan was organizing important documents for one of Katherine's meetings, Lisa appeared beside her, arms crossed. "I need you to file these contracts in the system, and I need it done before noon. There are dozens of files, and any mistake could be costly. So, try not to mess it up." The condescending tone was obvious. Megan kept her composure and took the stack of papers. "Of course, I'll take care of it." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "You got this job by luck, but that doesn't mean it'll last. Working here takes more than just good intentions, you know? People like you don't usually survive in this world." Megan felt her blood boil, but she took a deep breath and smiled. "Good to know. But as long as I'm here, I'll do my best." Lisa narrowed her eyes and walked away without another word. Megan knew she was being tested. She spent the next few hours meticulously organizing each document, double-checking everything before finalizing the task. She wasn't about to give Lisa any reason to find faults. At exactly 11:50, Megan completed the assignment and sent a detailed report to Katherine, outlining the updates she had made. Lisa showed up shortly after, probably expecting to catch a mistake. "Finished?" she asked with a cynical smirk. Megan nodded and turned the screen toward her. "Yes, I also sent a report to Ms. Sullivan in case she wants to review anything." Lisa looked momentarily surprised, but quickly masked it. We'll see if it's all correct." She grabbed the tablet and walked away without another word. Megan exhaled. She might be a single mom with no corporate experience, but that didn't mean she'd be easy to push around. That afternoon, Katherine called her into her office. "Megan, about the files you organized today." Megan held her breath. "Yes?" "Excellent work. Everything was perfect." Relief flooded through her body. "Thank you. I tried to be as thorough as possible." Katherine smiled. "And I noticed. Keep this up. You have the potential to go much further than you think." Megan walked out of Katherine's office feeling something new, confidence. Lisa might try to bring her down, but Megan had faced far greater challenges in life. She wouldn't give up, and in that moment, she knew she was ready to fight for her future. Days turned into weeks, and Megan began to stand out even more at work. Katherine seemed to trust her more with each passing day, and even Lisa's constant attempts to undermine her didn't shake her. Megan was learning fast, adapting, proving every day that she belonged there. But then, something happened. A moment that would define her future. On a rainy morning, Megan arrived at the office and immediately sensed something was off. Employees whispered among themselves, their faces filled with concern. As she approached her desk, she saw Katherine on the phone, her expression tense. "This can't be happening," the businesswoman muttered, hanging up with a frustrated sigh. Megan hesitated before stepping closer. "Is everything okay?" Katherine ran a hand through her hair, clearly exasperated. "No, it's not. We just lost $1 million contract because the correct documents weren't sent on time. The client decided to go with another company." Megan's heart pounded. "But how did that happen?" Katherine grabbed a report and tossed it onto the desk. "Apparently, there was an error in the system. Someone filed the wrong documents and didn't catch it in time." Megan picked up the report and skimmed through it quickly. It was the same task Lisa had given her to file weeks ago. A cold chill ran down her spine. "I reviewed everything before submitting. I'm sure the files were correct." Katherine's gaze hardened. Then someone changed them afterward. Before they could say anything else, Lisa walked into the room. "Ms. Sullivan, I'm so sorry about what happened. But unfortunately, Megan is new and might have made a mistake. Maybe we should start reviewing her work more carefully from now on." Megan's stomach twisted. Lisa was trying to pin the blame on her. Taking a deep breath, Megan kept her composure. "Excuse me, but I have proof that the original file was correct." Lisa froze. Katherine crossed her arms. "Proof?" Megan pulled up her email on the computer and retrieved the report she had sent on the day of filing. "Here it is, the original version I submitted. Compare it with the altered one. If a mistake happened, it was after I completed my work." Katherine examined the information. Tense silence filled the room for several long minutes. Finally, she turned to Lisa. "Do you have anything to say about this?" Lisa opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her face turned red, and her eyes darted away, avoiding Katherine's. Katherine sighed and reached for the phone. "I need to speak with the IT department to find out who made this change. But I think I already have a pretty good idea," Lisa stammered. I didn't mean to. It was a mistake." Katherine stared her down. "It wasn't a mistake. It was sabotage, and I don't tolerate that in my company." Lisa swallowed hard and, with no way out, hurried out of the room. Katherine looked at Megan, a spark of respect in her eyes. "You just saved your own career." Megan let out a relieved sigh. "I just did what was right." Katherine smiled. "And that's exactly why you have a bright future here." That moment was a turning point. Megan was no longer just a new employee trying to prove herself. She had earned her place. That night, Megan went home exhausted, but with a smile she couldn't hide. She had won. As she tucked Oliver into bed, the little boy looked at her curiously. "Mommy, why are you smiling like that?" Megan chuckled and sat beside him. "Because today I learned something very important." Oliver tilted his head, intrigued. "What?" Megan took a deep breath, carefully choosing her words. "That when we do what's right, even when it's hard, good things happen." The boy grinned, satisfied with her answer. "So you had a good day at work?" Megan stared at the ceiling for a moment, thinking. It was more than just a good day. It was the beginning of a new chapter in her life. "I had an amazing day." In the days that followed, Lisa's quiet dismissal was announced, and Katherine made a point of highlighting Megan's impeccable work to the team. More than that, Megan felt she was finally being recognized, not just as an employee, but as someone who truly made a difference. A few weeks later, Katherine called Megan in for a private meeting. "Megan, I want you to take on a new role. You've proven to be more than just an assistant. I want you to be my operations coordinator." Megan's heart pounded. "Does that mean a leadership position?" Exactly. She could hardly believe it. Just a few months ago, she was struggling to make ends meet. Now, she was being promoted to a role that could completely change her life. "Katherine, I don't even know what to say." The businesswoman smiled. "Say that you accept, because you deserve this." Megan felt her eyes well up with tears. She thought about everything she had been through, every hardship, every sleepless night, every moment she had doubted whether she could build a better future for Oliver. She smiled, holding back her tears. "I accept." That single mother who once found a lost bag on a bus was now on the verge of a future she had never even dared to dream of. Because in the end, honesty, perseverance, and the courage to embrace challenges always lead to great opportunities.